All right, so we are back. As you can hear, I'm kind of sick. We're powering through because today we have a video to make, and that is Misfits Boxing's lightweight tournament has been announced. We're going to go through all of the combatants. Let's see if we can rank where we think everyone is and how that'll change as this tournament goes on, and what the matchups potentially will be. I don't know how they're going to set those, if it's just going to be by announcement order or something else, but it's official. Misfits Boxing lightweight interim title tournament is now here, and the winner of that does get that interim title, but more importantly, they get to take their shot at the actual champ, the man holding the real belt, Dean the Great. But before we get into the tournament, listen, you don't have to fight your way to the top to understand the best in the business when it comes to protect your money, your keys, your cards, everything. That is the one and only sponsor of today's video, Ridge. That's right, guys. Ridge, you know, carries the most secure and fashionable, sleek wallets in the game. You see them right here. It holds 12 cards plus room for your cash on the back strap. Yes, I ain't talking about your favorite meat. Hey, yo. The Ridge wallet allows you to get rid of that bulge in your pants. Never mind. It allows you to get rid of that clunky old stuffed wallet that really has no use anymore and allows you to stay sleek and pristine while keeping all of your cash, cards, and etc. in one place, sliding into that front pocket discreetly. And it comes in a couple designs. That boom, nice ceramic look, got the flash going as well with it, or a simple yet sleek solid color like this white Ridge wallet right here. And like I told you, Ridge doesn't just do wallets anymore. Thanks to the BAM Ridge key case, you can keep the things allowing you to get into your car, household, or anything else safe and in one place with their anti-jingle design, and you can keep from 1 to 6 keys in that case. And the Ridge team is so confident you'll like these products. When you go to ridge.com/Wade and use code WADE to get 10% off your order, you can test drive these products for 99 days. And again, if you don't like it, you can send it back, get that full refund. I don't think you're going to do that though, because these are the best in the biz. So once again, make sure you go to ridge.com/Wade and use code WADE for 10% off your order. You don't want to miss the most sleek, smooth, and efficient design. Whether you're keeping track of your money in cards or your keys to life, Ridge is the only way to go. Thank you to Ridge for sponsoring this video, and now let's get into the tournament. It's going to get messy. It's going to get nasty, so stay tuned, buckle up, and be ready. The breakdown. Let's go. Challenger number 1. Pretty simple pick. A guy that's fought Dean the Great twice in one great fight and another one-sided fight that Dean absolutely took over. W.A.D.E Sharks. This makes sense. The first challenger, I assume if we're doing a bracket seeding, he'll probably be the number 1 seed, seeing as he has fought Dean twice. Beat some other people at lightweight for Misfits and is a well-known name here in the Misfits world. So W.A.D.E number 1, I'm with that. Listen, we know what he brings to the table. He's got a nice left hook, boxing pedigree background. Does tend to leave the hands a little low when he wants to exchange, so those are things you got to look out for. But young kid, bright future. Again, wants to get back to that title, get the 3rd match potentially with Dean. I like this pick at number 1, the only pick I feel that you can make for the first. Challenger number 2 is Joey Knight, and I have to think these are seeding brackets because Joey Knight and W.A.D.E Sharks are at least considered to be among the top lightweights in Misfits right now. So for them to be at number 1 and 2, I don't think is a mistake. I think that may be where they're seated in the tournament. Number 1 seed, number 2 seed, Joey Knight, again, completely dusted most wanted. It wasn't a close fight. It wasn't a tough fight for him. He should have won that fight, and he did in style. Now, he only does have 1 fight here. He does have more fights outside of Misfits, so they obviously see a lot of potential in Joey. There's some big-time names in this tournament and big-time talent, but putting him at number 2 shows you what they think of him. And again, if this is seeding purposes, they think him being this potentially 2nd best guy means that they also think he can potentially challenge Dean for that belt. It's something he said he wants to do. We'll see what happens. As far as his skill goes, listen, we know Joey is very skilled. He was dancing on most wanted like he wasn't even there. He was cross-stepping on him. He has a great jab. It doesn't look like he has any issues with power that maybe we thought potentially beforehand he would have, but I truly think Joey Knight could win this whole thing. He's that skilled. It's just going to be a matter of seeding matchups and how far he can go into this tournament with those matchups and how far he can continue to make his run into this tournament, because eventually everyone's going to get found out. Everyone's strategy, everyone's strengths are going to be seen. And I think out of the people in the tournament, he showed the least. So let's see what Joey has when the competition steps up. Challenger number 3 is W.A.D.E Gang. This one right here, folks, I'm telling you now, I know I said Joey has potential to win it. So does W.A.D.E. So does anybody. Everybody has potential to win this thing. W.A.D.E Gang might be my pick to win this entire tournament. I think he is that good as a fundamental boxer. The only issue I have with W.A.D.E gang is we haven't seen him sit down on a lot of punches as of the times we've seen him in the influencer boxing scene. Now, granted, that's because he's had high-level guys in front of him for the majority of the time he's been in Misfits. But we did see in the little tag team back and forth that W.A.D.E gang was having some success with W.A.D.E when they would tag in and go face-to-face, and that'll be an interesting matchup should we get there. He's in the number 3 spot, so the way this works out, you're going to have a 1 versus 8 matchup, a 2 versus 7 matchup, a 3 versus 6, and a 4 versus 5. And again, if the challenger numbers are the actual seeding numbers, then W.A.D.E gang would be fighting the 6th seed, which we'll get to all the matchups if they are going to work out this way in a second. But for as long as you keep the big names away from each other, they're going to have to meet up at some point. And I think W.A.D.E has the ability, boxing-wise, to match up well with every. He has a really good jab, fast hands. He's got great reactions to punches. It's just that one big thing that we haven't seen from him is his power. He may not need that as other fighters overexpose themselves and he continues to box clean. I like the number 3 pick again. I'll make picks at the end of the video, just way too early picks, but as of right now, W.A.D.E gang should be, for sure, one of your favorites to win the whole thing. Lil Cray Cray. Now, we have seen Lil Cray Cray on YouTube for years, and it's almost become like folklore. Like, you hear about him, you don't know that you'll ever get to see it, but it's that one legendary fighter that everybody talks about in the streets. No pun intended. Lil Cray Cray came up doing somewhat of the same stuff Dean the Great was doing. The street fights, street fighter versus boxer, and having scraps in backyards and parks. And he's even fought on street beefs before, which I think is going to be something we come back to for other people later in the tournament. But Cray Cray is a man of the people. People have wanted to see him on Misfits for a long time now. He's getting his opportunity. He's a southpaw. Great combination punching. I think from what I've seen from him, he loves to go to the body, lead and backhand. Patient, poised, and then can explode in a heartbeat. He's another guy. I keep saying it for every entrant in the tournament, which is why this tournament is so good. It feels like everyone can win it, at least through 4 picks. I said W.A.D.E gang is one to keep your eye on, but I forgot that the number 4 seed here, again, I don't know if they're doing it this way, but the number 4 challenger is Lil Cray Cray, who for years people have wanted to see fight Dean the Great. That's a dream match in a lot of people's eyes in the influencer boxing scene. So again, depending on how this thing shakes up, you're going to get insane matchups from first round all the way through. And I think Lil Cray Cray is another one. The only thing, maybe his size might get him into some trouble because, again, he's a little bit smaller than I think a lot of the other lightweights will be. But I've seen him fight bigger guys before and just wear them down. Body shots, upstairs, relentless pressure, and then sometimes he's a bit more patient. He's explosive. He has it all in the bag. He's not necessarily the most polished, technical, solid boxer. But he knows how to fight, and his boxing is very, very good. So, again, the number 4 challenger, Lil Cray Cray, can win this whole thing. Challenger number 5, Ace Musa. Now, someone said Ace Musa looks like a combination of Slim and Gib, and I can't unsee it now. It's pissing me off. You guys remember on Misfits number 5, he, I think, was supposed to fight W.A.D.E Sharks, and it got called off for some reason. I don't really remember why. But again, we have another guy here with amateur boxing experience that we've seen in very small spurts on YouTube, so not a ton out there. There's some guys like Lil Cray Cray, W.A.D.E. We all have footage on, at least for the most part. Joey doesn't have a ton out there, but we know that just based off his one performance, how good he can be. Ace has some footage out there as well, and based on a couple of those performances, we know he can be a dangerous person in this tournament, a dark horse, some might say. A guy that can absolutely shock some people if they're not on their P's and Q's. Now, again, challenger number 5 in a 1-8 format. If he is the 5 seed here, that would mean he would be facing the 4 seed, which is Lil Cray Cray. And again, I don't know if that's how they're going to do this, but if that is the matchup, it'll be interesting because Ace, from what I've seen, likes to fight a little bit more free flow with his hands down. He's a bigger guy, I think, for the weight division, or at least tall-wise. I think he's going to be a little taller than Lil Cray Cray. And again, I'm fantasy booking here because I don't know what the matchups are going to look like. But let's say it's the 4-5. Cray Cray southpaw, a little smaller. Ace Musa, a little taller, hands lower, likes to be a little flashy with his skills. It's a dangerous fight for both guys, right? Lil Cray Cray knowing how to dig to the body can get Ace in some trouble early. But Ace's range can be a factor. Sticking on his jab, staying on the outside, being a little bit more elusive with things on the back foot. Those things can come into play. And again, there's not a lot of footage from Ace. What I do see, I like, but I don't know if it's enough to convince me that he will win this tournament. Not that he can't, because I think all 8 can, but as of right now, I don't think he is one of my perennial favorites to win the whole thing. So next we have, and I'll say this for the last 3 guys in this tournament, we have some relative unknowns, guys that most people don't know. In fact, some guys that I don't know in this tournament that are going to try to make a splash, put their name on the scene here in Misfits and take the world by storm, right? The first one, Tasmanian Devil. Taz sent me a message or a few messages. I don't know how long ago. I want to say it was all the way back in 2021, maybe 2022. I don't remember. But sent me messages saying, hey, I want to get on Misfits. How do I do that? Now, granted, I don't even remember what I said to him. If I helped him out, I hope I did. But I'm not going to take credit for anything that he's done. He's gotten himself onto this platform. Fair play to him. But I did get to see some of his footage. And this guy, again, is one of these you're going to have to keep an eye on because he is big. His frame for this weight class is different. Now, granted, he's lost a ton of weight, had a weight loss journey, been boxing for, I think, 16 years to this point. So again, the level hasn't fallen off. Everyone to number 6 in this tournament has years of boxing experience, decades in some cases. So Taz is right there with everybody else. No, his following isn't the biggest, and I know a lot of people are complaining about that for him and some others spamming the question who under all Misfits posts. But again, in a tournament style format, you're not going to know everyone. And that's kind of the beauty of a tournament, is that yes, you have your familiar faces, you have your favorites, you have your dark horses that you still know, and then you have your relative unknowns like Taz, who is, let's be honest here, a Cinderella story if he wins this, because he has almost no following. He has almost no reason to be in this tournament other than the fact that he campaigned for it. He has skill to be in there with the rest of the guys, and they're giving him a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to go out and prove that. So I'm rooting for the guy. Listen, like I said, he's got a crazy frame. He used to be a lot heavier. His arms seem a little lankier for the 135-pound division. And again, if they're doing this seating-wise, him and W.A.D.E gang would be the 3 versus 6 if this is how it's going to go. Watching Taz fight, he throws hammers, dude. He throws big punches upstairs and down. He has some great reactions to punches. I just wonder how he would deal with the technical, precise ability of W.A.D.E gang. He's not going to get into a firefight with you. And even if he does, he'll do it strategically to where you throw punches, he's not there, then he counters you with one, jabs his way out, and we're back to range. I see explosive power and looking for heavy hammer shots from Taz, and I see W.A.D.E trying to pick him apart from the outside. It's going to be a tough matchup. But in a tournament like this, pretty much everyone will be. So it'll be interesting to see how they do the seeding. If they do it by challenger number, that'll be the best way to keep some of your big names away from each other early. But like I said, in a tournament where everyone has experience, everyone has skill, upsets are bound to happen, and everyone is going to have a tough fight. All right, next, challenger number 7 is Argentinian King. Now, I don't know anything about Argentinian King. I know that since this news has come out, people have asked the question, oh, who's this guy as well? Apparently, he's a really big influencer and has done some training with the likes of B-Dave, Taylor Holder, Austin McBroom, done some stuff up at Tin Goose in Los Angeles. So he has, again, experience, and I don't think that he's done just some training. I'm sure he's had a good amount of fights to be in a tournament like this. You're not getting just the odd influencer that has trained for about a year or has a couple of months of training looking for their first fight in this thing. And I could be wrong, but I think to be in this tournament, you have to have years of experience fighting. And the influencer side isn't necessarily as important. Now, again, that's not the case for Argentinian King. He's got a ton of followers. He might be one of the most followed people in the tournament, but I also think there's some underlying skill here. Even if I don't see that, even if I haven't seen it, I have to believe that they got a guy that's experienced and that is going to give a good showing of himself. Because if, again, he is the number 7 guy, and again, I'm making assumptions because I don't know, that means he'd fight the number 2 seed, which is Joey Knight. So again, you want to talk about guys that don't have experience going in against Joey Knight. You've seen what happened. He turned the last guy into a rocking chair and made his coach wave it off. So it's like, you can't put just anybody in there. You have to put someone that has some skill, has some training, but also has some fights and experience for a good amount of time. Otherwise, it's going to be another wash. But also, I could be completely wrong, and it's maybe not how they're doing this. Based on the colors of the background of the photos, everything has changed. 1 and 2 challengers have pink, 3 and 4 blue, 5 and 6 yellow, 7 and 8 red. I don't know if that means anything or they just went, hey, let's get a cool graphic for the tournament. But I have to believe that, again, regardless of who he's going to be fighting, Argentinian King is going to have enough experience, enough ring time, and bring a new audience. Apparently, he is Argentinian. I don't know that we have any Argentinians in influencer boxing, and opening up that audience to Misfits is only a good thing. So again, while I don't know this individual, and I'm sure I will get to know him through the buildup of this and videos and training and all those other things, I'm excited for this. This is a name I wouldn't already know. It's someone that has been given a shot to prove their not only star power, their ability, and bring Misfits to a new place in the world. This is a good thing. I like this. Number 7 challenger got a tough one on his hands if they do the 2-7 matchup, which is Joey Knight. Don't know enough to say he can win this thing because I just haven't seen it. I'm going to say, once again, another dark horse Cinderella story underdog. Now, last but not least, rounding out the Misfits Lightweight Interim Title Tournament is Baby Hulk. For those that are big fans of Street Beefs, the underground fight league that happens in most people's backyard and Satan's backyard, apparently, Baby Hulk is a mainstay. He's got one of the most viewed videos on that channel where he fought, what was the guy's name? Hold on. He fought Viking, and it has 46 million views. Now, this was 3 years ago. And while he does look like a jacked up Nate Robinson, Baby Hulk can fight. He has multiple MMA fights on Street Beefs and actual pro MMA fights as well, I think. But again, as a boxer, it'll be interesting to see when things like his takedown or his leg kicks are taken away from him. He does look like a complete fighter, right? He does use a lot of takedowns in his Street Beefs and other MMA fights. He does use a lot of leg kicks, but he does have hands and big overhands. But in a tournament full of technical boxers that I think at least 6 of the 8 are, it'll be interesting to see how much of that just brute strength, and not to say he's not technical, but I don't know if his technique is on the level of some of the other guys, but that's what a tournament is for. You never know until we get in there and solve it. Baby Hulk, I think, is a great pickup here. As again, across the internet lore of fighting, he is one of the bigger names from Street Beefs, I don't know, channel, a place where people that didn't fight professionally but still wanted to get it in have gone for a long time. Regardless of sometimes how those matchups are set up and how one-sided they are, this is going to be interesting. And again, he takes the 8 spot, which would lead you to believe, if these rankings are what we think they are, if it's a 1 to 8 challenger number and seeding, he would take on W.A.D.E in the first round. I'll tell you this, while W.A.D.E is very technically sound when he wants to be, he will sometimes decide to sit down and throw power shots and trade a little bit, and that's where he can be touched on the chin. There are places here for Baby Hulk to shock a lot of people. And again, not to say he's not a technical boxer, I think he is. I just don't know if he spent the majority of his fight life just boxing, so this will be a bit of a transition. Again, another underdog in my opinion, but I like him as an addition to this tournament. I don't know, again, what the seedings will be, but I know that when he comes into the ring, it's going to be entertaining. So Baby Hulk, another W. Now let's rank those combatants, because again, they have a challenger number there. I don't know if that's their seeding number, but I'm going to place them in my own seeding right now. We're not going to do a full bracket in winter yet. We may do that on the breakdown, I don't know, but let's just do a seeding really quickly, how I rank all of the fighters in the Misfits Lightweight Interim Title Tournament. Here we go. Number 1, I might put Cray at number 1 here. He has so much experience fighting so many different styles of guys in the street, in the ring. He has Street Beefs. He has regular, just random street fights versus actual boxers and non-boxers. He's seen so many different techniques. But again, another guy that I would put in that number 1 spot, W.A.D.E gang, sometimes doesn't sit down enough power to make a difference in shorter round fights. I do hope these fights go more than 4 rounds. I hope that we're doing 5+ for these, because again, you want to have a decisive victory here. Let's do this. Cray 1, W.A.D.E gang 2, Joey Knight 3, W.A.D.E 4, Taz 5, Ace 6, Hulk 7, and Argentinian King 8. Now, granted, I don't know enough to know how either silly or genius I just sound in making that list, but I just think, again, Cray sticks out to me as a guy that could win this entire thing based off his experience. The only worry for me is his size, but I've seen him go up against taller guys, better reach, all that. W.A.D.E is probably one of the best technical boxers I've seen in Misfits. Joey right there with him, so those two, it's almost a push. W.A.D.E has a ton of talent. He's so young. He's experienced. He's got great hands, but he does tend to get away from his game plan. He tends to fight sometimes a little bit emotionally, lets his guard down, and gets caught with some big-time punches. Taz, again, fighting 16 years, that kind of experience does lend itself well. So him and Ace, you could say 5'6", 6'5". To me, doesn't really matter. I think Ace is going to surprise some people as well. But again, just haven't seen enough of them to put them higher on my rankings to start the tournament, which will change, by the way, as we go through this. Who knows? Someone gets upset early, and all of a sudden, you're right at the top of the ranking. Hulk is not higher only because I feel his style is not necessarily tailored to boxing as much as it is fighting. If this is an MMA tournament, Baby Hulk could probably be in the number 1 spot. And Argentinian King, it's no disrespect. I just don't know a ton about him. I haven't seen anything on him as far as boxing. I've heard things. That's great, but I need to see more. That's where I'm leaving it right now. You guys, comment down below. Honestly, I think this lightweight tournament might be a big-time resurgence in influencer boxing. That influencer boxing desperately needs. It desperately needs it right now. Like, let's be honest about something. Right now, Misfits and influencer boxing needs something like this to keep interest for the things they're planning on. These big cards in April, whatever it is. So this is a W. Fair play. I don't know when this will happen. I don't know where, but I'm excited for it. You guys let me know what you think about the rankings down below. And this tournament is not even started yet. We're getting picks for who wins already. I don't have those answers, so when it's announced, when we get those matchups, when we get into this tournament, a lightweight interim title winner will be crowned, and that person will go on and fight Dean the Great. Question is, who will that be? I don't have those answers. So, guess we'll find out.